Hello YouTube, today at powerjackrepair.org, where we fix laptops. If you send us the whole laptop, it's $120 plus a prepaid shipping label, and $60 if you send us just the motherboard. I'm sure we have this laptop, how to take this laptop apart on our channel someplace. We got more than 1,000 plus videos, maybe already 2,000 plus videos over the last, I would say, 12 years we have been on YouTube, 14 years we've been on YouTube, and 20 plus years in business. So what this company does, what we do is we replace those connectors right here. This is the connector. We're gonna replace this connector right here. It's pretty much bread and butter nowadays. Those used to be really expensive laptops. Asus Republic of Gamers, M16, gu603hm, gx703hs, gu501hm, and all of them have exactly the same problem with the connector. And I keep describing the same problem again. There are a bunch of videos of Asus ROG Asus Republic of Gamers repairs on this channel, and I keep describing the problem just so that for each model, so that you know what's happening. Inside of this connector there are two springs. I will show you on the microscope a little bit later. One right here and one right there. When you wiggle it too much, the connection here gets oxidated on the plug side, the plug that you put into the jack. On this side, this plug is obviously not from the here, but you should understand that this is a plug that you put into the jack, and it gets oxidated on the inside portion, on the inside of the barrel, which I have here someplace, maybe not. Let me see. Well, something like that. Let me just show you. This is a different plug again. You see the shiny part inside right here? It's all nice and shiny. You probably can't see it. Anyways, you see the shiny part. On this particular plug, when you put it in and out, the shiny part becomes oxidated. It becomes orangey. So if you look inside, you will see orangey hue in there. Once you see orangey hue, that means it's oxidated. It's basically rust in there. Once you see rust, that's what causes the connector to fail. This connector does not fail otherwise unless you have a faulty plug, or unless you drop the laptop and it landed on this connector and you broke the plastic center piece right here. The plastic center pins holds the pins together basically. So if your connector looks like that, then you're still good. It just, the thing is, your springs right here, the inner springs that's supposed to glide onto this smooth surface here, they are pretty much oxidated, right? And pretty much nothing you can do. Now this particular board arrived to us slightly dent. It seems like there is a dent right here. I didn't break it. It just, sometimes we do get boards that are bent, but they usually work fine. So I hope that this one also gonna work fine. Another problem with this laptop, I'm not sure if this particular laptop or not, is the the whole computer industry switched to using liquid metal paste. Instead of using paste, people now use liquid metal. It's a liquid aluminum that's supposed to conduct the electricity to the heatsink from the CPU in a proper way, but instead it causes the CPU to fry sooner than later. So again, it's bread and butter of all of those. Basically, the thing is, I invest into many computer manufacturers, so it's in my best interest for the laptops to fail sooner than later, just like all the manufacturers. Anyways, besides the point. So what I'm saying is, let's see if this is one of those laptops that also has this liquid paste, and if this one has any exposure to the overheating. And you will see right away if there are any burn marks on the CPU. Usually the liquid metal is being applied to the CPU, not so much to the GPU, and it's the CPU that fails on those. So if you have an overheating issue on this particular laptop, let's see if this particular model has the liquid paste, liquid metal. as the insulation paste. And you still have to take the heatsink off from the motherboard to replace this connector, because the heatsink gonna draw all the heat from the hot air from the motherboard when we're gonna use the hot air to heat up the motherboard. So once it draws all the heat into the motherboard, it goes into the heatsink, and it's really hard to solder or desolder anything from the motherboard if the heat is being sucked out by the heatsink. So that's the reason why you want to remove the heatsink, and that's the reason why you want to remove the heatsink even before you're gonna ship it to us. So that once you get it back, you could reapply the paste. So let's take a look. The moments of truth. Do we have any burn marks on the heatsink, first of all? And do we have any burn marks on the CPU from the liquid paste? Maybe we don't. Ta-da! All right, so here. Ta-da! You see? Just like on most of the Asus ROGs, we got the burn mark right here. This is a burn mark from the CPU. This is your liquid metal right here. So if you have an overheating, what you need to do, you need to remove the heatsink. You need to get all of this liquid metal off. And you need to reapply regular paste like that one. All right. And as you can see right here, there is the CPU, and it's a burnt CPU. You see right there, it's burnt. Probably the reflection doesn't show well. Let's see if we can yeah, so right here, you see, that's a burn mark right there, because the liquid metal went sideways to the left and to the right, and it left the crystal exposed, and that crystal was contacting the metal on the you see, it's all burn marks right here, it's all burnt. And that's the reason why people complain to us that most of those Asus ROGs, they all have exactly the same overheating, and everybody wants us to look into it. And I tell everybody there's nothing to look into it. It's almost always, this is the liquid, this is just regular paste, thermal paste. There is no burning anywhere. And this is your aluminum here. And that's the reason I tell everybody who wants me to put a liquid metal onto their CPU, that I'm not gonna do it simply because it's a liability for me. I'm just gonna put regular paste on it. I do have this stuff, but I'm not gonna put it because the CPU gonna die eventually, just like it. I mean, here it's probably still okay, and hopefully the reason they sent it to me is the connector, not the CPU. Let's see if we can just, and it's really hard to remove this liquid metal from the area because it doesn't want to get absorbed really well into anything. All right. You see? Almost impossible. Let's try to remove the regular paste. You see, it's all, well, this one just dries out, right? But it's still, but you see how how clear the crystal is? It's not burnt or anything. See right there. You see? Shiny, good crystal right there. Let me get this stuff. We got a shiny surface. Crystal isn't damaged. NVIDIA chip. Invest into NVIDIA, my friends. Because we need more money to be pulled into NVIDIA. Because I am invested in NVIDIA for the last 20 years. So, because it's in every single laptop there is. Not like I have a whole bunch of money, not like maybe $1,000, but because I always need money to buy something like a car or a house or something like that. So yeah, not an investment advice, but NVIDIA chip is pretty much in everything, and they're really, 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 really good. The chips themselves don't fail. Mostly the video card manufacturers that produce crappy products, but the chips, they last forever unless you put something like this liquid metal onto the chip. Well, You see, it's like close to impossible. I'm just keep. So whenever it overheats, it just goes to the one side or the other side. I'm gonna spend more time cleaning this guy up than I'm gonna be fixing the connector. So here, let's do the same thing here. Those silicon pads, make sure they're still in place, because don't remove the silicon pads. And nothing gonna be wrong with those silicon pads either. They're all like secondary. The most primary here is the CPU that's gonna fail. All right, 2 hours later. Some of you would say don't use the Q-tips, but there's nothing else I can use here to get this liquid metal off from the, and I don't want anything else to short out here either. So you can see, I can show you under the microscope right now that the CPU is damaged in terms of the crystal itself is damaged here, even without the microscope right there. You see this part? The crystal should be crystal clear, just like the rest of it, like this one right here. You see, this NVIDIA chip is fine right there. It reflects my lips, so you can see my let's see if you can see my beautiful smile. Yeah, you can see my beautiful smile. All right, so here you can't see anything. This is burned. The crystal itself is burned. You can polish it all you want, it's not coming back to life. So if I would just stop right now, I would say the CPU is back. All right, without even trying to replace this guy. But because the client sent it to me to replace this guy, and because the video is already rolling, I'm gonna replace this guy, and hopefully, yeah, let me see if I can maybe polish it off a little bit more. But I think it's all useless. And if this system gonna fail, I have this video to prove that all of those, every single one of those gonna fail eventually. No, I mean, doesn't matter what I do here. It's in the CPU itself. I mean, the crystal itself is damaged. Nothing anybody can do, all right? So thank you, Asus, for going above and beyond in doing this kind of stuff. All right, so when it comes to the connector, the problem using the soldering iron here is we got a whole bunch of little tiny filters right there. 1, 2, 3 filter here, and one right here, and one capacitor right there, and this guy comes off the motherboard. So you have to be ridiculously careful trying to remove this guy off of the motherboard because all right. And the only way I'm gonna try to remove it is from the bottom, because the other side has too much stuff here. All right, too much, way too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So don't touch anything on the top. All right, you're not gonna remove this connector. All right, so just send it over, I will remove it. But let me show you how I do it here, so just in case you decide to do it yourself, you're not gonna damage it as much as if you're not gonna see how I do it, right? This board online is like $700 plus shipping or tax, schmacks. You're looking at like $800, all right? So try not to mess it up. Let me show you what I mean by the here. You see, this is the CPU right there. This is how it burned. And yeah, nothing anybody can do about it. This is a burn mark. You see where the liquid metal was at? It was all around it, but not here. And that's how it's supposed to look like right there. You see, NVIDIA chip, nice and clear. Just because it was regular thermal paste. It wasn't the liquid metal, aluminum-based thermal paste. Yeah, this is just again, I'll try to put as much thermal paste here as possible, and maybe it's gonna last a while, but if the laptop not gonna power up, it's probably because the connector wasn't the issue in the first place. All right, so let me find some support right here. Let's get the flux on top of the connector. All right. So we got the flux on top. All right, we got the hot air positioned right behind it. We're gonna power up the hot air. We're gonna get the soldering iron. And we're gonna add as much solder as we can. We're gonna add the leaded base solder to the connections. Good job. Now let's add a little bit more. Let's add a little bit more leaded base solder everywhere. All right. And now let's remove that leaded base solder. All right, there is one little guy that's stubborn. So let's try and get it from this side. Alrighty. Let's take a look on the microscope if All right, so what we got right there, I don't like how some of it looks like. Hold on. All right, so this filter is still in place, right? Didn't get damaged. Nope, nope. All right, those guys didn't get damaged. Okay, well, it's good to me. Now let's bring the new. Here is a brand new connector. Let's see if it fits. Yeah, it does fit perfectly fine. So before we're gonna put it in, we're gonna put a whole bunch of flux in. All right. Flux is essential. Again, I see some comments, people thinking that flux is not cheap. It's not cheap, yeah, I know, but it makes my life a lot easier, and the time is money here in the United States. So if you guys in India someplace, I understand that everything is not as easily accessible. So here. All right, let's solder a little bit here. Solder just a little bit right there. All right. Solder, you probably can't see it. Oh, you're on the microscope. All right, so if you're on the microscope, you get. All right, looks good. Looks good. All right, let's flip this guy over. Now the key here is to solder everything. All right. Did they, yeah, they did go through. Okay. So as long as the legs are going through just fine. And again, I know too much flux, right? But it's not some, I mean, for me, I don't want to hear a complaint from the client that something didn't hold very well. So for me, it's easier just to put as much flux as possible, even more than needed, but never hear again from the client saying that something failed. And the flux is gonna let it penetrate everything into the connection quite deep. All right, good job. And I would never have to hear from the client any complaints whatsoever. All right. Good job. Good job. Beautiful, beautiful, amazing. And that's what a lot of flux does to you. All right, so here, let's see. Good job. I hope this is not breached right there. Is it breached? No, it's not breached. All right. Excellent, excellent. Excellent. Let's see the other side. So the reason you pay the big money for my job, because as you can see, we soldered everything from the bottom, but the top still has unsoldered places. All right. And we don't want to damage the components right on the left side here. We don't want to damage this guy. We don't want to damage this guy, that guy, those two guys. And we cannot shove a huge soldering iron in here in any way. I mean, so here's what I do. You guessed it, flux, 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 flux. All right. And what I do next is this. Instead of shoving the iron directly into I shove it here. All right. And I shove it right there. All right. And I shove it right here. And you would say, what a lousy job I did. And just wait. Just wait, my friends. Just give me a second here. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So if you're gonna go around like that, all right. And then we're gonna go right here. The goal is not to mess up anything nearby, all right? And now the secret sauce, we're gonna fire up $1,000 soldering iron, which is nice and tiny, and it's gonna go into the smallest cavities there are. And like that, like that, and like that. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's what I'm being paid the big money for. Again, the Amazon warehouse next door pays a lot more than what I'm making here, but somebody has to do it. So, yeah. As you can see, everything got penetrated all the way in. All the way in. You see? This guy penetrated all the way in here, 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 and here. And nobody else gonna do a job like that. All right? Nobody. And now you would say, oh, how dirty everything remains and looks bad. Oh, wah, wah, wah. All right, so we're gonna clean it up. All right? It's no big deal. It's no big deal. So here what we're gonna do is we're gonna separate, put it on an angle, and clean the whole thing. Like that, like that, like that. Let's do the bottom as well. Let's bring the brush over. All right, the brush doesn't wanna kick in. Where is my cleaner? All right. Beautiful, huh? I know, look at that. Beautiful work. Even factory doesn't do this kind of beautiful work. Now it's all gonna be probably useful if the CPU is bad. All right, so here we wanna clean this guy, that guy. We want to clean up the area right here. All right. Let's try one more time. All right. Let's clean this guys one more time. Beautiful, huh? I know. I know. By the way, this is 99% ISP, so there is no water in it. Just ISP, which gonna evaporate, but in case it's not gonna evaporate, what we do is we're gonna just use the absorbent wipe, Kimtech wipe, $40 a $40 a little box of 280 sheets inside. All right, it's gonna be nice and absorbent, and we're gonna use on this side too. Beautiful. Beautiful. You see? Amazing, huh? Amazing cleaning. Yeah. Now, the reason I don't use flux off because it stinks a lot. And I get to inhale all of the fluxes anyway. Inhaling the flux off, it's not that healthy, really. All right, so let's clean up the area here. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, so that's the old connector here. And what I wanted to show you is the inside. Take a look right there. You see, you don't see the spring. The springs are gone. They are pushed inwards. On the new connector, you should see the springs on top and the bottom. Here, there's no oh, there is one on one side, one on the other side. All right. Those are the springs I was talking about here. This is one spring right here. And this is the second spring, but they all pushed inwards. This one is still kind of okay. This one. But this one is pushed inwards. The last thing I want to do to dry it out, I have this fancy schmancy dryer. All right, guys, again, if you're sending just the motherboard, make sure the heatsink is off. Simply because the heatsinks get damaged because they take more space in the box. The heatsink kind of bends and the whole board also bends because of that. And without the heatsink, you can put it in the smaller packaging. Because this thing right here, you see, it adds. This can get bent, that can get bent, and when all of that gets bent, nothing good happening. Anyway, so I just realized that the client sent in a power supply as well. So we're gonna take a look. And we're gonna inspect. And we're gonna inspect and we're gonna take a look. And this guy is actually, you know, the power supply looks like new. Let's add more light. No, there is no orangey, there is no hue of any sort on the inside. Oh no, there is. There is a little ring going on, about 4 millimeters in, 5 millimeters in. There is the ring Yeah, so there is a ring going on inside, right where the connection wasn't happening. Basically where the spring supposed to connect to this guy, that's where I can see slight oxidation, but it's no big deal. Really, it's nothing to worry about. Let's see. Right here. Oh no, no. You know what, I probably need to file it down a little bit so the connection will be more solid. But this is where it's at, right there. But there is no orangey hue anywhere, so that's a good thing, because usually once it's going to be orangey hue, nothing good going to come out of it. Right, so moment of truth. Let's see if the whole thing doesn't work because the CPU is bad. The whole thing doesn't work because the plug was spared. All right, so we're going to connect that. And we're going to take a look. And we get 20 volts. All right, so we get 20 volts, meaning that the board is not shorting, meaning the CPU is not shorting. So we're gonna be good to go here. The board checks out just fine, because if the CPU would short, this thing would not even, it would be like no. All right, so let's see. All right. And all right, good job. Good job. So now I'm gonna cover the whole crystal with the thermal paste, with a lot of thermal paste, because this CPU had enough of burning through. For me, the most important for the crystals to be covered, all of the crystal. All right. Don't leave any spaces uncovered. All right. Now you can just take the excess off. You don't need so much here. All right. Okay. Okay, good job. I could take a bit more off, but I'm not sure how well the whole CPU thing is gonna sit on it. So I'm just gonna make sure that this pad right here is perfectly fine. And what we're gonna do is put it upside like that. Like that. Let's screw this guy in. Let's screw that guy in. And let's screw this guy in. Okay. Right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Amazing. Yeah. So job is done. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, and you guys take care and have a good day. Thanks.